everybody, this is Amber from DSA Threads. Today I'm going to show you how I made the doublet I just finished for the IRCC 10 competition. So for this video, I'm not going to show you how I did the couching on the outside. I did couch a ton of trim, and in fact, I think that could also be the title of this video, which is Couching Tons of Trim. That was probably the most annoying part of this project, and it took a long time. But I will link you to the other video where I showed you how I couched onto my underskirt. We are going to talk about pad stitching today, and you know what that means.
Okay, let's talk about pad stitching. What I'm doing here is basically all it is. You're gonna take whatever scrap piece of wool you have, cut it into the shape of the area that you want to be stiffened, and then you just do this really basic stitch. Lots of times. I'm just gonna show you the stitch over and over and over so you can see it, because that's really all there is, and I have nothing else to say about it. What can we say about doublets? This style, particularly the white doublet with stripe down the arm, is pretty popular during this time. I mean, everyone has one. You can see it in all kinds of different variations. I mean, there's just so many examples. And because of this, I was fairly confident that that is what you see underneath the top garment in the portrait. So all I had to do was plan it and make it. I started out by drafting pattern from the Modern Maker and then doing a mock-up. And during the fitting, make sure you're wearing all of the things you're gonna wear underneath. Then I started cutting out the pieces of linen canvas. This is what I call creative piecing. Don't do it. And then it was time for pad stitching the wool. For the outer fabric, I decided to use my wedding dress. First, I decided to try it on for one last time.
Look everybody, I'm flogging. How do people say it? It sounds like flogging, which isn't great. Anyway, this is my wedding dress. And yeah, I'm gonna cut it up and make it into something I can actually wear. And I wonder if anybody's thinking, how can you do that? And I can tell you that I am 100% fine with doing this. It's a lump of fabric that's been sitting in my closet and hasn't done anything in like 13 years. So it's time for this thing to go out in the open and become something else.
Here you can see all the pieces cut out, although I did change these sleeves because I needed to be able to make lots of couching. Lots of couching. So much couching, but I needed to have that straight line down the front, and I realized that the other pattern had it crooked. So much couching. When I was couching the trim, I realized that it made these seams very stiff. And so here I am just securing down. Hello? Okay, there we go. Now you can see it. Securing down the edge of the seam allowance. Oh my goodness, it's a side seam. Just kidding though. Time for more couching. After couching the torso, I was able to try it on and do a test fit, and I was really excited. That finally got me excited. Here's a little example of what the guts look like. Next, I was able to put the sleeves in, and then I started lining. Just lots of lining, more lining, more lining. Then I added hooks and eyes. I tried it on again, and it's actually really comfortable. The final elements I added were the buttons, the loops, and then also I made eyelets and points for lacing the skirt to the doublet. Once it was done, it was time to take pretty pictures and dress up. thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week.
Okay, here's my sewing room. What do you think? Oh.